Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to talk about my entire perfume collection. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. As many of you know, I have an online beauty consulting service, and this is where you and I chat about your personal beauty concerns. So if you're looking for someone to help you step by step on eyeshadow or blush or makeup application, if you need help coordinating an everyday makeup look, like which blush goes with which lipstick, etc., please click the link in the description box down below to make your appointment, because I don't work for any brand in particular, so I give you my best unbiased professional advice on what I think works best for you. All right, let's dive into today's video. I have placed my perfume bottles behind me strategically. I hope you can see them all very clearly. So I think we should go ahead and start off with a strong heavy hitter category, my Chanel perfume collection. All right, let's start off with a heavy hitter for Chanel. We have the Coco Mademoiselle Eau de Parfum. This is an icon. It's classic, it's classy. It smells like the zest of an orange, maybe a bitter orange. It's not overly sweet. It's orange and floral. There's musk, there's patchouli. This is definitely a youthful perfume. It's not young in an age sense, but it just feels light and lighthearted. And this is definitely a perfume for a woman more than a girl, but this has a nice character to it. It's definitely a woman about town, a woman who's traveled and who's seen the world. It's an icon for a reason. Then we have Coco Mademoiselle's cousin. We have L'Eau Privée, which came out this year or last year, and this is the nighttime fragrance. Talk about bougie and extra. This is Coco Mademoiselle, but a lighter, softer version, maybe a bit more musk. It reminds me a little bit of Sensuelle, in the sense that Sensuelle is supposed to be like your skin type of scent. This one has that sort of dry down. There's less patchouli as well. If you want to try Coco Mademoiselle, but you don't want to splurge on the Eau de Parfum, the Eau Privée can be a nice option, or even the Eau de Toilette. Now I have a miniature of the Perfume. This is the essence of Coco Mademoiselle. This smells like it has a little bit more vanilla inside and also more rose. Overall, I find that the perfume, the essence, the extract is definitely sweeter and softer. You get less patchouli, less of that bitter orange. The essence is really nice, but very expensive for how little you get. Okay, let's move on to the true icon of Chanel, number 5. So my favorite interpretation of number 5 is L'Eau body spray. So the L'Eau number 5 is lighter, fresher. It has more citrus, and this body spray here, you can spray it all over your body and your hair as well. I love this for the summer, and I know quite a few of you tried this out last summer as well. It smells fresh, invigorating, and light. There are aldehydes in here, but it's not as heavy as the classic number 5. You get a soft baby powder finish, so it's just so refreshing to spritz on yourself liberally after a warm day. It's just so lovely. Then we have number 5, L'Eau Première. You know, for a while this was my favorite version until L'Eau body spray came out. This one has, I think, a hint more vanilla. You still get the aldehydes, you get a bit of woody notes as well, lots of florals. But I think the aldehydes in Eau Première are a little bit softer somehow than in L'Eau. Just something about the composition is really light and fresh. And when this dries down on me, I'm left with this soft baby powder sweet scent. You know when you eat a piece of bubblegum and the wrapper is covered in this little white powder that's sweet and sugary? That's what this gives me when it dries down. It's definitely a sweeter version of number 5. Then we have number 5, the hair mist. Now, I love a hair mist. I can't think of anything more extra than a perfume specifically for your hair. And this one here is very fresh, very floral. You get the aldehydes, but it's really just a wonderful bouquet of flowers, and it has number 5 on it. You can spritz it in your hair. I love a hair mist to apply throughout the day. Like after I've already applied my perfume, when I want to freshen up, you can just douse yourself with a hair mist and be on your day. And I think this has more rose than I'm used to with number 5, because typically number 5 is a very white floral fragrance with all the aldehydes, but this feels like a nice balance of white florals and roses too. And then I have a miniature here of number 5. This one here is the Eau de Parfum. So this one here smells more woody. You get lots of the florals and the aldehydes, but you get lots of iris as well. It's not just white florals, you get a nice mixture. It's very fresh, and you get a mixture of yellow florals, some jasmine, some neroli. I mean, this is pretty iconic. I think when a lot of people think of number 5, they think of the Eau de Parfum. Let's move on to Chance. This is the classic Chance in the hair mist. Now, Chance, I think, is one of the most underrated Chanel perfumes. I think it gets overshadowed a bit by some of its counterparts, but this is just such a clean scent. You get lots of florals, you get a fruity note there as well, but it's not like a sickly sweet, it's just light and fresh, and a sweet fruit note as well. This smells clean, it smells classic. Anytime you wear this, you get tons of compliments because it just smells so lovely. Whether you wear the Eau de Parfum, the Eau de Toilette, or the hair mist, it will always be magnificent. Now, inside here are some samples of some other lovely Chanel Chance perfumes. Now, Eau Tendre, also known as the pink one, is so lovely. It's so girly, so feminine. You get grapefruit, you get this like nice, bubbly, sparkly personality in this perfume. It's so wonderful. Remember when this came out? This was like a hit worldwide. It's a very floral, citrusy, sweet perfume, and it has iris and hyacinth. It's just really lovely, and I think Jacques Paul was such a wonderful nose when it came to Chanel perfumes. You know, he created some lovely masterpieces like Chanel Chance Eau Tendre, Coco Mademoiselle. These are some signature scents. I mean, Jacques Paul also did Coco Noir, he did Egoist, he did the Allure Homme Sport. What else did he do? He did like the whole Chance, Eau Tendre, Eau Fraîche, Eau de Toilette, etc. He did Allure, he did the Blue series for men. Like, Jacques Paul created some really magnificent perfumes. Let's move on to Chance Eau Fraîche, also known as the green one. This one here smells more sporty. It smells very citrusy, very fresh, very green. You get your limes and your lemons. It's also woody with like maybe a hint of patchouli, not very much. There's musk, but you still get some white florals like jasmine. It's a really lovely perfume. I have a hard time deciding which one of these Chance perfumes is my favorite. Like, I love the classic Chance, but then I try Eau Fraîche, and then I try Eau Tendre, and I don't know. They're all magnificent. And then we have Chanel Chance Eau de Toilette. This is classic, it's clean, it's fruity with like a hint of pineapple. It's sweet, but not like a syrupy caramel sweet, just like a nice fruity sweet. You get your jasmine, your rose, your iris. So it's a really nice, light, floral, fresh fragrance. There's a little bit of pink pepper in there as well, and also some patchouli. It's a really wonderful fragrance. And then we have Chanel Chance Eau Vive. This is the newest addition to Chance. You know, I think unfortunately this is like my least favorite one. Eau Vive is the one that I can always skip. I actually have it in a format. I have it right here. And anytime I wear this perfume, it doesn't matter how much I spray, it disappears on me. It just evaporates and floats into the air. It never stays. You get blood orange, like the zest of an orange. You get woody notes, some musk. But for some reason, when I think of Chance, the entire collection, to me, it feels like a very feminine, girly, youthful collection. And something about Eau Vive just rubs me the wrong way. I feel like it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the fragrances. It's not as soft, it's not as feminine, and also it never lasts on me. So it's really my least favorite. Now moving on to Gabrielle L'Essence. So the Gabrielle series came out a couple of years ago, and when the original came out, I wasn't a huge fan. I just thought it smelled too soapy. But I find that the Essence is nicer. It's a little bit lighter. It's still very floral, but there's some sweetness added to it that makes it a little bit less like a bar of soap. You do get lots of white and yellow florals. You get lots of jasmine, tuberose, ylang ylang, maybe some orange blossom as well. It's a very floral fragrance, but it's also a very clean one. There is some musk in here as well and a bit of woody notes. I know you're supposed to have some citrus in here, but honestly on me, I just find that it's a very floral, fresh perfume. I think this could be like an office type of fragrance, like an everyday signature perfume. It's not too complicated, it's not too heavy, so it could just be like something you throw on to go to the office. Now we have the Allure Hair Mist. Now, Allure is very sensual. In the name itself, you have this like alluring fragrance. This smells very sexy, very sensual. You get flowers, of course, but you get a little bit of vanilla as well. You get some sweet powdery notes, but not in the bubblegum sweet, just like second skin, that sort of fragrance. It's really just a nice, very sexy perfume. Even though this is for your hair, you still get the DNA of Allure, which is this very sexy and sensual woman. Now we have Paris Venise, which is one of my favorite perfumes to come out from Chanel in a while. This, to me, smells like wealth. This smells luxury. It smells bougie. It smells classy. It's a soft floral with lots of iris. There's also some powdery notes. There's a hint of vanilla. It's not a sugary sweet, caramel sweet. It's just a little bit of vanilla. There's lots of violet and iris as well, which are floral notes that I find tend to be a bit lighter. They're not these heavy power hitter floral notes that kind of bog down a perfume. They make it light and airy and fresh. There's a hint of tonka bean, but again, the tonka bean and vanilla in this case are really light and just give you a really beautiful fragrance. All right, let's move on to some Dior. The first one here is the Joy by Dior, and this is the Eau de Parfum. This one here, I think, slipped under the radar for a lot of people. It's a floral perfume, and you know what? It kind of reminds me a little bit of Chanel Allure. It reminds me of Chanel Allure and Chance, this floral, fresh, slightly sensual fragrance. You get lots of jasmine and rose de grace, but you also get some musky, almost like skin-like notes. You get woody notes. You get some citrus as well, but it's not a very fruity. Like it's sweet in the fact that it's light, but it's not one of those like syrupy caramel scents. I think this smells very clean, very fresh. I think this could be a signature scent, a daytime office perfume. It's not very complicated, but it just smells nice. And then we have the Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet Eau de Parfum. This is a very floral perfume. You get tons of rose in here. Lots of rose, lots of pink flowers. I think maybe some peppercorn, a little bit of patchouli as well. But there's some sweetness. I think this one here is getting closer to the caramel, syrupy, sweet fragrances. It's still very floral and very fresh, but you get some stone fruits, like maybe some peach, some apricot that have just been like overly ripened in the sun. It's a really nice fragrance, and you get a lot of a sort of musk or pink peppercorn fragrance too at the same time. It's a very intriguing perfume. Now we have what I would consider a heavy hitter for Dior. This is the Miss Dior Eau de Parfum. This is the 2017 version or 2015. My personal favorite version was the one that came out in the mid-2000s. I kept buying it around 2009, 2010. That version was my favorite, but this is what we have now. This smells so feminine, so youthful, so pretty. You get some musk, a little bit of patchouli as well, but lots of citrus fruits, and you get the zest of citrus fruit, like the zest of a blood orange, the zest of a lime, maybe the zest of a lemon, like just the whole fruit salad. But it's a sweet fragrance without being that caramel, decadent, gourmand fragrance. You get lots of florals. I think there's 2 types of rose in here, like rose damask and rose de grace. It's a very floral, fresh, feminine scent. The version that I used to wear that I loved, I think that one had less patchouli and more cherry and even caramel notes. It was a super decadent gourmand perfume. But now I wear this because it's the closest I can get. I mean, every couple of years they like to reformulate this, so maybe one day it will go back close to the one that I loved before. Now, for my favorite Christian Dior perfume, we have the Dior Addict Eau de Parfum. This is getting into the gourmand, sweet caramel sensation. This smells like vanilla. Straight up vanilla, vanilla pods, vanilla essence, vanilla extract. You get tonka bean, white musk, some florals, white florals, nothing too heavy. You're not getting hit in the face with a bouquet of flowers. You also get a soft powdery note. It's not too sweet though. Even though this perfume is very sweet and leaning into the gourmand, the powder just feels like a soft baby powder note. There's a bit of musk. It smells wonderful. It also smells cold, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I think this is a gourmand fragrance, but it's not warm and spicy. It's almost like vanilla bean on ice. That's what I think of when I smell this. It's one of my favorites. I often don't buy the 100 milliliter simply because I have a large collection and I keep adding to it. But for this one here, I made the exception to get the largest format just because I want to have as much of it as I can. I completely forgot to add my Coco Noir collection to my Chanel category, so my bad. This is the Coco Noir Eau de Parfum. Now, this is a warm, spicy, slightly gourmand fragrance. Straight up, this reminds me of the Yves Saint Laurent Opium. It's in that vein of patchouli, floral type of fragrance. It's quite musky and patchouli. There are some wood notes here as well. You also get some amber and clove. It's this warm, spicy, balsamic, and it is sweet, but it's not very sweet. Like, it's not as sweet as the Dior Addict. This is just like a warm cup of spices with some patchouli and some mystery added. Now, I also have the hair mist of Coco Noir, which is definitely more approachable and more attainable for us mere mortals. This one has more vanilla. It's less intense. It still has the DNA of Coco Noir, but it's just not that same sort of like punch in the face. You get more vanilla, a little bit softer notes as well. The patchouli is still present, but I think they added maybe some pink florals like geranium and a little bit of grapefruit just to lighten it a little bit. If you love Coco Noir, you will still love the hair mist because you could just go ahead and spritz a bit of Coco Noir and then later in the afternoon put on a little bit of hair mist. Although Coco Noir is so long wearing, you probably don't need to add the hair mist. It's just if you feel like being extra. Okay, let's move on to some Armani. This is the Si Eau de Parfum. Now, this is definitely stepping into that very gourmand, caramel, sweet category, but this one is paired with some lovely green, woody patchouli notes. Don't get me wrong, it's very decadent, very sweet, lots of vanilla, that syrupy sweetness, but it's lightened at the same time. It's not super heavy. I would still think it's an evening or a winter fragrance if we want to have categories, but they added some fruit, which makes it sweet but lightened at the same time. It's spicy, but much less spicy than Coco Noir. It's a really lovely fragrance. I definitely have a type. There are probably some fragrance notes that you will see repeated on this channel, but that's simply because we all have our preferences, and I think for the next few perfumes, they're going to be a bit similar. Now, we have the Givenchy L'Interdit Intense version. This, you guys, this is a gourmand, sweet, heavy hitter. You get lots of vanilla, tonka bean, vanilla paste, the good version, the good stuff. You get this aromatic, warm, spicy swirl at the same time. There definitely are some white florals, but the florals are just there to balance the fragrance. It's definitely an evening, winter, heavy perfume. There's a hint of patchouli, but not too much. It's not like a very patchouli-esque fragrance. You get sesame seed, and I pick up star anise, just this like really rich black licorice flavor. And I just think that this is 100% my type of fragrance. Now we have another one from Armani. This is the Because It's You Eau de Parfum. This I absolutely love. It's fresh, it's fruity, but it's not the heavy gourmand caramel fruity scents. I get so many compliments when I wear this. It smells like raspberry, that sweet fruity note that's not very heavy. It's fresh, it's everyday, it's so feminine. There's also some vanilla in here, but it's not a very heavy vanilla. You get lots of citrus, maybe some quince or grapefruit, that sort of light, fresh, citrusy note. Oh my goodness. You know, for me, raspberry is one of those scents or one of those notes in a perfume that if it's in there, I'm going to love it. Raspberry, vanilla, and iris. Those are three notes that I know I almost always love. And this perfume has raspberry and vanilla, so I knew I was in for a treat. If you can imagine a vanilla soft serve ice cream cone with a swirl of raspberry all the way to the top, this is what this smells like. It smells like a snack, and you will smell like a snack if you wear this. Now, we have the Gucci Guilty Eau de Toilette. Now, this perfume, wow, it brings me back. This was the perfume that I used to wear back in my party girl days, back in my clubbing days in my early 20s. This brings me back. This is a floral, soft, spicy. It's a really good balance because it's a little bit gourmand, but not overly caramelly sweet. You get this sweet, fruity notes from some stone fruit, maybe some peach, that are just really ripe and sweet, but you get some florals like lilac. There's a bit of vanilla in here as well. I think it's one of the most underrated perfumes on the market. It smells so fantastic. And this is another one that it doesn't matter where I wear it, I will get tons of compliments. There's also a little bit of black pepper and patchouli, but those type of spicy notes are really softened. It's not a very spicy fragrance. It's really soft and really well balanced. Okay, let's move on to some Lancome. This is the Idole Parfum. So this came out, I think, 2 years ago, and this one also kind of flew under the radar. This one is a nice, soft, warm, spicy perfume. There is some patchouli in here, lots of florals as well, specifically lots of rose. I think there's a Rose de Mai and Turkish rose, maybe a bit of jasmine. There's musk in here as well. And you also get some vanilla, but it's a really light version of the vanilla. It's not that very heavy gourmand fragrance. And I believe there are some fruity notes in here too, because it does have a light fruity scent to it. Maybe a little bit of pear, but it's not a very sweet perfume. Like there is some sweetness, but it's more of like a floral, musky fragrance. I could see this as being an office everyday signature. Maybe not office. It has a little bit of character, but like this could be your classic everyday signature scent. It kind of reminds me of La Vie est Belle, but not really. Like I could see these as being very distant cousins, but to me, La Vie est Belle and Idole are totally different. Now we have Lancome La Vie est Belle Eau de Parfum. This is another heavy hitter for me. This is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. I know for some people, they think it's basic, they think it's overdone because so many women wear it. I'm certain you've probably encountered this. You've maybe tried it at a counter, maybe you've owned it, maybe you've smelled it. I don't care. I think it smells so wonderful. And what's interesting is when I wear this, I always get tons of compliments. Plus, when I wear this, people will often ask me if I'm wearing the Dior Miss Dior perfume from the early 2000s. Something about this DNA is similar to that perfume, especially on my pH and my skin. So I just love this one. This is a definite gourmand, heavy caramel. It smells like the most indulgent latte in the world with heavy caramel and vanilla bean, the good stuff, vanilla paste, maybe some butterscotch, some whipped cream. It smells very decadent. You obviously get some florals in here like iris, which makes it a floral fragrance but not too heavy. And I think for good measure, you maybe crush up some pralines on top of your latte and just go to town. It's such a good perfume. It smells so good. And I don't care if people know what it is. Like I love this so much and it smells so good on me that even if people can tell what it is, I don't care. You know, sometimes basic is okay. You know, sometimes with these like very niche perfumes, you wear them and you have to wear them for like 6 months before you can appreciate it. I don't care if I can just spray this on me and love it right away. She may be basic, but she's mine. And moving on to something that is absolutely not basic. This is the Tom Ford Black Orchid. Technically, this is a unisex fragrance, but I really love it. Now, this is a heavy, warm, spicy, amber, patchouli, woody fragrance. This is the type of fragrance that if you are not careful, it will wear you. It has a lot of character, it has a lot of presence, so you have to have a clear mind when you decide to wear this. I get notes of maybe some spiced chocolate. I get lots of florals in here as well. Gardenia, jasmine, maybe some orchid as well to go with the fragrance. And there's a little bit of citrus, not very much. It's just sort of there, I think a bit of lemon just to balance the whole thing. And you get some fruit notes. I'm not really sure which ones. It's not fruit notes that are overly sweet. It's just to add a bit of that fresh, fruity sweetness. Maybe a couple stone fruits, maybe a pear, maybe a black currant, that sort of thing. But it's a very decadent fragrance. I think I often just smell it more than wear it. Like I just pass by my collection, give it a whiff, and go on my day more than actually wear it on my body. Now, this is a new addition for me, a new discovery. It isn't new whatsoever, but it's new to me. This is the Versace Bright Crystal Eau de Toilette. This smells so good. Wow. So fresh, so light, so incredibly feminine. Like, oh my goodness, the girliest of the girly girl. You get these like water notes, that sort of light, fresh, crisp scent. You get lots of florals as well, like a very feminine, floral, slightly sweet fragrance. Not a gourmand, but just like slightly sweetened and lightened. You get like maybe some magnolia, some lotus, whatever other pink flowers you can think of, because this to me smells pink. It smells very feminine and very girly. There's probably some fruit in here, maybe a little bit of pomegranate and some other pink fruit, maybe a little bit of raspberry, not very much, but just that sort of like pink red fruit like combination. And now we have something from Guerlain. This is the Meteorite perfume. This is the Eau de Toilette. This is a very floral, but like soft floral. I think it's a lot of iris in here, which softens it up a bit. It's also very powdery, very fresh, very feminine perfume. I want to say there's a hint of like a crisp green apple, like a Granny Smith. Something light and fruity. It's sweet but fruity, so not the heavy caramel scent, but just that crisp bite into a green apple, that sort of light, fresh, slightly tart, slightly powdery sensation. And now I have mon Guerlain Perfume. This is so nice. It has vanilla, my favorite, but it's also floral at the same time. You get a hint of lavender as well. Not too much. It doesn't smell like a lavender bubble bath, but it also smells like iris and vanilla. There's definitely some vanilla in here. Maybe a hint of licorice, a little bit of sandalwood, and some musk. This is a really lovely perfume. This is a woman's perfume. This could definitely be a signature scent, not because it's boring by any means. It just has so much character and complexity with the licorice and the tonka bean and the iris and everything. It's a really good perfume, like totally underrated. Then we have the Gucci Flora Emerald Gardenia, and this is an eau de toilette. Now this one also gives me this sort of like aquatic water vibe somehow, but it also smells very fruity and sweet. A light, fruity, sweet, fresh floral perfume. I think the fruit in this is maybe watermelon, so that very light, crisp, watery note. When you bite into watermelon, you're essentially biting into like fruity water. Maybe some very ripe pear as well. And then you get lots of gardenia, some lotus, and the gardenia is really present, but it's not this like slap in the face with like white florals. I think there's a hint of musk in here, a little bit of lemon. I think this is a beautiful fragrance. I love it just for like every day. It isn't too heavy, so you can go in pretty heavy-handed. It's just a really lovely, fruity, light scent. And then to finish off the video, let's go into a couple perfumes here from Maison Christian Dior. So the first one here is Rouge Trafalgar. Now this is just a red sweet perfume. If you can imagine any red fruit, raspberries, cherries, strawberries, maybe pomegranate, those like red, juicy, fruity notes, this is what this smells like. There's also some citrus as well, lemon specifically. It's just a very feminine, light, fresh, I think perfect for springtime, perfect for daytime perfume. And then we have Fève Délicieuse, which is literally the exact opposite. This is another gourmand fragrance. Here there is vanilla, tonka bean. It's a gourmand fragrance, but you don't get as much heavy, intense caramel. I think there's maybe some green notes in here as well. Definitely maybe some cherry, like sour cherries. Not the same red fruit notes from before. I think the fruity notes might be like bergamot or maybe a little hint of a lime zest with a hint of mint as well. But it is a pretty gourmand fragrance. It gives you a slight, soft, powdery, dry down note, which gets mixed into this like cocoa pod, vanilla, tonka bean. So really Fève Délicieuse and Rouge Trafalgar are like day and night. All right guys, that is it for today's video. This is my entire perfume collection. I do have an entire drawer dedicated to samples. I decided not to review every single one because we might be here ad nauseum if I did that. But let me know in the comments what you think. Which perfumes do you have at home? Which ones do you want to try? Let me know in the comments. If you are not subscribed to my channel, I talk about nothing but luxury beauty, and I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and also hit that notification bell, because just because you subscribe to my channel does not mean that YouTube will notify you when I post a video. So you have to make sure that notification bell is on as well. Alright guys, this is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!